there's a continued trend that I find among players whenever I talk to them about how their team is improving or what they can do for their team to improve. And that thing is criticism. But the difficult thing about criticism is a lot of people don't know how to necessarily give good or valid criticism to someone. And this goes for any field because, there's something in the back of your mind of like, oh, well, what will they think about me? And maybe they'll just think I'm an asshole. So there's always this dilemma that players go through to express their criticism properly and to give proper feedback. And then there's also the problem of if they truly do need to criticize something, maybe it's something very small that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Is it truly a problem that needs to be criticized? And so there's been multiple instances with this, but I think two of the biggest primary examples is with Doublelift and with Dardoch. Now, Doublelift, he was on the chopping block previously because he would kind of just flame his teammates basically and criticize them heavily, and he has this very blunt style, still to this day somewhat, but now he's kind of changed his tune to be able to give criticism and actionable criticism. That's what he says. And during this spring split, he had also said that the reason why Team Liquid's performance was increasing was because this team finally aired out all the dirty laundry and just said, hey, these are the problems that I think it are with your play style, and so I want you to fix this and this and this. And so the teammates were just a lot more honest with each other, and that's what creates a good team environment, is honesty, is to the capability of being honest. And basically, Doublelift had just stated the team was very slow to learn and there was just a major lack of criticism towards each other. And teams are held back by a lack of criticism, and this also goes for analysts too, even on broadcasts, is that just because you may think you're hurting a team's feelings, or you may think that you need to go lighthearted on them, and that it doesn't do any good to actually point out any of their flaws. That's wrong. That's completely wrong. You should tell people what they're doing incorrectly, especially from an analyst position. That is your position. You're supposed to analyze the game and say what is good and what is bad. That's fundamentally what an analyst is supposed to do. And sure, you can tone it down a bit to where it isn't as harsh, and maybe it's a little bit actionable feedback, as words from Doublelift would say, which is very smart, is that it should be criticism to where you can point out the flaws and you can point out to how they're doing things bad and what they can do to improve those types of things. So this goes not for only players but for analysts. And then of course there is Dardoch. He's known to have a very blunt personality, just like Doublelift, and always stating his mind, and the whole drama with Team Liquid and everything, and his disappointment within the rest of the team, and him having a vehemence in saying things which he thought were the correct way to play, which is another criticism on the other people who obviously he thought they didn't know how to play the game optimally or correctly. But the problem is that you have to give feedback that is constructive. You can't just give feedback and flame someone and expect them to better themselves magically. It has to be something to where they can find a little bit of a clue into a direction to where they can go towards improvement. And so honesty just helps everyone get on the same page. That's the main thing, is that feedback is, in lieu of honesty. It is a direction towards honesty. And I think with this, teams really need to give public speaking classes. Teams need to teach these players how to speak to one another and how to kind of conduct themselves within a team environment so that they can speak honestly and bluntly, but not come off as being an asshole. So teams need to implement this system of feedback that is just not limited to only coaches giving criticism or staff giving criticism. It also needs to happen from a player to player type relationship as well too. So criticism is extremely important within teams because it allows their potential to escalate even further, allows their ability to learn to be even faster. And that is how you help a team function and help a team grow, and not stay stagnant for so long and for such an extended period of time, because we might see these players get comfortable, in the middle of the split, but at that time it might be too late if your record is so bad. And it's not that your players are necessarily bad, it's that maybe they're all just not on the same page. Maybe they all don't agree with things, but they're afraid to share as such because they're afraid of giving criticism. So criticism is a very good technique to learn, not only as a player, but just in life in general. So teams should take that into consideration and should take criticism lightly and also meaningfully as well too.